Hello, hello. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Nancy. Let me put the gallery. You're welcome to be on the video or stay off the video. Hello, Stephen. Good to see you. I see we have some people watching us on YouTube. If you are watching us on YouTube, thank you so much for joining in a way which feels good for you. For those who first time see me, I'm Anastasia, and I'm the creator of Exposé documentary series. And today's episode is focusing on healing. So you will hear not just stories, but how healing can be really unique. And there is not really one guide for everyone. How we all heal will be really depending on our story and our needs. And I will open mic for everyone who would like to share on video or audio around what help you in your own process of healing, to fight your demons, your fears. But before that, I just want to create space so you all don't freak out. Oh my God, I have to answer now. We have people joining also. I would like to share a little bit around my own healing. It was 2021, January 6th, when I found myself in therapy. And I felt like, okay, now I'm going to just, find all the keys to the doors. And hello, Asta, good to see you. And 6 months later, the therapist I was working with mentioned, okay, so the therapy is finished. Like the process has been completed. And I felt this feeling of, oh, so is that it? Like, I still feel insecure. I still can't trust people. How am I, like, there is so much more than what we work on. So that's the question I want to start with. What if we don't have those answers? Or would you like to share either your own story of healing or what made you feel like, yeah, I might not have all the answers, but where I am right now, it's where I have to be. Like, that's where I choose to be. And it's all okay. It's okay for me to feel the chaos. It's okay for me to feel being lost. The ups and downs are fine. And just allowing, creating our space to feel all of it. And you're welcome to open mics if you would like to share. Okay.
Oh, while Asta's preparing, I'll go ahead and share, and that'll give her a moment to get caught up with. I was trying to share out the link to other people because this is such a valuable, it's such a valuable share. It's this process of healing, and everyone goes through some sort of journey, and I think that's the biggest thing that was my takeaway is, we expect to go from being in this, where we're at to happy or to joyful. And it's not that simple because it's this progression of maturing emotionally. I call it emotional maturity, because it's part of emotional intelligence, but we also gain experience and we gain wisdom from that journey. And so most people are looking outside of themselves for the answer, right? They're looking for love, they're looking for significance, they're looking for something to make them feel good about themselves, without realizing that we actually carry that within us. And And that was the slow awakening that helped me through the healing was to start noticing. It's to start noticing how I felt and not judging the emotions and not trying to make sense of thoughts that didn't make sense. And I realized that sometimes you can get stuck in this loop and your thoughts can trigger emotions that they may not feel good. And I found out that, sometimes we can have something that happens that makes us feel bad. And we're justified in feeling bad, right? Somebody may have treated us very wrong, or we might have been hurt very deeply. And the more we think about that, the worse we feel. And for me, it was finding out what worked. For me, I just had to not think about it. I had to shift my thoughts into something else. And and I had to make space. So I had to learn how to set boundaries. I had to learn to do all of that. But I think the biggest thing is there's a choice point somewhere. You have to choose that you're worthy of love. You have to choose that you're worthy of being treated with respect and kindness, and just believe that in your heart. And, I can remember even having an argument where, because I don't think that we automatically go from not having if we've had a toxic partner in the past, it's hard for us to see those red flags because they've been normalized sometime in the past. And so what ends up happening is like there'll be something, and it's standing up for yourself. And so that's what I found for myself that was most helpful is just accepting that we are worthy of kindness, of appreciation. You know, we it's not okay for somebody to treat us bad. And that's what I just like to take away. So that was my journey of realizing that to stand up for myself, and it's not selfish to stand up for yourself, and it's not selfish to put yourself first and have self-care and self-love and all of that. So that's what I learned. And when I first learned to set boundaries, it was so awkward. It felt so uncomfortable. But it was right because I knew I would feel bad after if I didn't set the boundaries. And then, and then we even get better at setting boundaries. I remember the first time I set boundaries, they were kind of strict and a little bit rigid. But then we realized later on that people will violate our boundaries, but it won't trigger us as much because we're not as wounded, and we just decide what we're going to do with that person. So that's my share. It's just this idea that it's a journey. It's like, it's just like a little child learns to walk. We haven't been taught these things, and they haven't been modeled for us in a perfect way. And so it's being kind and easy to ourselves as we navigate with many, many errors, and don't think you're going to be perfect, but know that you're worthy of love, and you're worthy of kindness, and you're worthy of tolerance and appreciation and all of that. So that's all I have to share.
And as you said, Stephen, hello, Anais, good to see you. As you said, Stephen, even learning to set up boundaries and then feeling, oh my God, it feels so uncomfortable. It's like against everything you were taught, conditioned to. And it literally feels like, somewhere breaking that trauma bond, somewhere breaking that addiction of being the yes person, of just externally looking for pleasing people when you feel internally like this is against me. Like I want to have a voice and I want to speak it up, and realizing that if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it for me. And it's really that growth for the spirit somewhere. But I see Asta is raising a hand. Would you like to share a little around your healing journey? What you found the most challenging? Or feel welcome to share what comes to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing what we're doing every week nearly now. I don't know. I'm like, oh, it's like everyday stuff. And you feel like I want to be there and I want to support and talk about how important it is and heal and talk about it. And even, quietly in the corner, maybe somebody watching and like, what's happening? Is this people really gone through all of this, And that's what my healing one was starting. Like I was mentioning before, somebody told me, Asta, you need a healing. And I remember actually another day I met the lady, the girl, and I said, you know what? I actually even talking with you about you, like what you actually told me. And she's not a healer or nothing, but just somehow in her mouth, I when we talked, I was like amazed. She said, I don't even remember what I told you that. And I believe that our angels, our guides, talks through other people. She's like, I never told you that, but I know she did. And I remember clearly where actually. And that's where it's kind of magic happens when we need that message to get it, as long we hear it. And for some reason, that moment for me was like, what? What's that? You know, healing, that's mean you sick. And nobody want to be sick. Well, nobody want to be looked at as a sick person. We all put on the masks and all that, and we go out in the community and in front of others, and we pretending with this mask, I am good, I'm fine. And then when you really, really dig it in with the person, oh no, it's so much pain in there. And that's what I was living with this mask for years. And no way I would tell my dad commit suicide. No way I would tell what my ex-husband was abusive. It was like shame. It was like something what, oh my God, it's taboo. But actually, more I started to get up out of me that pain, I realized I'm not the only one. And more I was talking about it, many people started, thank you what you said, that actually I'm being quiet for so many years. So actually what we do when we heal ourselves, we actually like this wave, we're starting awakening others to wake up and to see maybe I have something in me to need to dig it out, to need to lift it. And I know we don't need to say, oh, let everybody say everything. You know, not everybody's ready. As I was saying, I was not ready at all when she was saying that. But something more was coming up to me. And then I'm like, oh, okay, now I need to do something. It's not normal. And only then when I was ready. And I love, Anastasia, what you're sharing, saying, well, the lady saying, yeah, you are done, but you know you're not. And that's the biggest kind of interesting part. I working with me, I working with others, and will I work with others? I'm like, wait a minute, I find something in me again. It's like that layers and layers, and you never supposed to be stuck working on yourself. Never. And I think more you say, I'm done, that's mean your ego say, yeah, thanks God, she not will be grow anymore. Phew. Let's not let that. Let's let our soul to grow and ego to watch it. Enjoy it if you want to or not. It's okay to have an ego, but as long it's not takes over our growth. And I always say, let's grow and let's peel all these layers. And something diamondy shiny in us, in each of us. Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Asta. I love you have such a passion when you're speaking, and it feels like, yeah, this is beautiful energy, and also what you shared has so much meaning. Thank you. Thank you. And Anais, would you like to share a little around what helped you in your own healing journey, or what you found the most challenging? And yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thanks. What I found the most helpful when I was ready and I had been asking a lot of questions and having a lot of unusual experiences, what I found was the most helpful for me was a week-long retreat away from my husband and my children, and the opportunity to explore who I am using the energy of sound. And so one of the things that I like to talk to people about as a coach, as a healer, as an author, speaker, blah, 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 we have developed these terms of industry terms. Trauma is now an industry term. Working on yourself is an industry term. And I encourage people to exchange trauma for actual embodied feeling state words like loss, separation, confusion, shame, guilt, rather than wearing the label of I'm traumatized or I'm a victim. It's really so helpful to shift and then explore. And then you're exploring who you are rather than working on yourself. I'm not a job. I'm a human being. So I encourage people that I work with to just have just a little shift in the language that they use, because our language is based on sound. And if we're not careful with the words that we use, then we're actually corrupting sound that could be healing. So I think that's one of the things that is most up for me right now. And I have long held and shocked my entire family by my conviction that silence is not golden. It is never golden. Silence about how we've been wounded or betrayed or abused or whatever, it is never golden. To contain all of that within yourself as a toxic time bomb that could go off any minute with a trigger that you don't even know is going to come at you. So I'm speaking now on this. I have a talk next Thursday, Mamahood After Trauma Symposium, where I'm going to be sharing about silence is not golden. I think anyone who's doing this exploration of self and of heart and of soul and of mind and of body, and even the elements that we're composed of, which is another whole gorgeous relationship that can be conscious, is that we need to say more, sing more, speak more, dance more, invite more of the living sound of creativity into who we are as we're continuing to explore the three roles in life. Currently, most people are either victim, victimizer, or rescuer. There's so much more beyond that. And it's a beautiful thing to discover it. And that door kind of opens when silence is no longer golden. So I think I'll leave it there, but I'm glad to see you all. And I'm so grateful for the amazing energy that you're sharing with the world right now. It is just gorgeous.
Thank you so much, Anais, for your contribution and sharing. There's so much grief in the world when it comes to, living relationships, and also in our own healing process. When we start, that's what I experienced many times when I start to realize, okay, I actually can go out of the denial and see things for what they were and name it, like, this is not okay. And then there's a process of actually grieving. And then how do you grieve, after something happened, years ago? And I would like to ask you if you have any message for somebody who might be watching the replay later on and maybe is going through it right now, when it comes to grief, lost, feeling like something was taken away or somebody was deprived something, and they still need that answer, response, or just expression of what has happened. And you're welcome to open your mic. If there's a story, you're welcome to tell the story. Sorry, I just touched my mic.
Asa, you have your hand raised. I'll wait till you're done.
Thank you. Thank you. This question was rising for me many times when I lost my dad, being, just a child and losing him for committing suicide. this question raised me a lot. Why, when, like, why that time? Why is in that moment? Why is not later? Why is so short time? Like many, many questions was rising for me. And you know, more and more I learn about our souls and souls, what we coming into this land, into this beautiful planet. We all have our contracts. And more I understand, my dad's contract was show love for me and leave me for me to grow up in what I grow up in through my life. Because he gave me love, he showed me how man could love someone, and then he leave. And that was his contract, to wake me up in my journey in future. Because if I would be staying in this beautiful journey, what I would be living with him and he would be love me, I probably would be spoiled brat, because he really was loving me and spoiling me because I was the youngest one, and he actually wanted a boy, but I somehow appear. And again, you know, everything what happened, everything looked like everything was done by the highest powers and like a contract. And every time, many times I'm noticing and watching and all that, and even my mom, you know, how she passed in the first wave of the COVID, and I was so far away, and I couldn't be there and hold her hand when she was sick and she needed. But I worked with my soul, healing her, and she was actually saying, I feeling your wings around me. She would never get that if I would be near to her. Again, was so magical. Leaving timing was like, I would not even imagine what that something like this could be done. But actually, this way, we become even more closer than we ever was when she was alive. And like I was saying, she was coming in my dreams. She talks to me. She gives me messages. And actually, for so many years, just yesterday, last night, my dad came in and gave me a big hug. And I wake up, I felt him so much around me as I never ever dreamed him. He never was coming in my dreams. And I felt, is this because of this thin layer in the air of between the dead and life? Is this or because I worked so much? Because every time when I do healings on ancestral healing and in my own 7 generations behind and front and all in my blood DNA, I think I unlocked something that he was like, I'm not saying forgiven, but he was let it be near me. But I always know he's around me. So I never really say what they gone. They always around us. They guiding us. They being with us. They protecting us. I always say my guides, they really busy to looking after my journey, because I always end up being some, funny stories. But oh my God, thank you, because only because of them I still alive, and must be something in there for me to do more. So I would not say anybody gone, just body gone. They changed the new vehicle as we buying new car. Must be this body was no needed anymore. Maybe was not healthy anymore. Maybe was not able to go. But now they got a new life, or maybe new vehicle, or maybe new something, a new process to do it. We all in here for some reason and for some contract. And I don't feel sorry what anybody goes. Yes, you can feel a little bit pain, but if we really, really love them, we need to let them go to do what they need to do next. That's all my feeling. And I love them dearly every time. And I know they're with me. I never on my own, unlike nobody from us. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
especially now on Halloween, they are more with us. I feel even more. It's magical time.
Yeah, it is.
I have a different perspective than that. I think it's a handy new age concept, this soul contract, and it's not how it really works. But it's a way for people to be able to maybe talk about it. To imagine, for me, to imagine a creation that would require grief, death, loss, abandonment, tragedy, horror, murder, suicide, war. That's not the creation that I live in. It is the creation that is available for quite a few people at this time. We're starting to see glimpses of something else that's possible, which I'm extremely grateful for. So I'm very careful about my boundaries and relationships, and sometimes choosing that something was a contract is a way of numbing feeling. It's a way of numbing impact. Grief is a flow. Grief is energy. It's a flow. It's a river. It has a profound flow. I have experience with grief. Lost a dearly beloved, fabulous man many, many years ago. And the experience of grief, because it was unexpected, because he was young, because we were just getting started, the grief was profound. And it was a flowing, raging river that I needed to let run, so that the love that I had for this man, this person, survived the grief, survived the preconditioning to forget, survived well, it's really a lot about forgetting. And just this year, his two sons, we were going to be a blended family. I had not had that much time with his sons. And the last time I saw his sons was at the celebration of my sweetheart's life. This year, because of the way energies are changing, his two sons reached out to me out of the blue. I don't even know how they found me. And I feel that that is the river of grief that we navigated individually, bringing us back together in this really truthful understanding that nobody goes anywhere. We are all here, and we're all here together, and it's all happening now. And where it goes off the rails is we become dangerous in our forgetting and our unwillingness to feel. So I would just say, think about the contract thing, and I would suggest, Asta, that you would be as fabulous today as you are through some other means and mechanisms if your father had not committed suicide. You are who you are, and your who you are-ness is solely in the heart-soul arrangement of you. There's no contract for you to be all the gorgeous, more loveliness that you are, except the contract that you have with yourself. So I will share that perspective. What am I now, 33 years into this adventure of exploration and impact and grace and grit and the unexpected. So grief, if you can think of it as a river, just let it flow and feel it. And don't let anyone try to suggest that you should hold it back or manage it or get over it. That's your journey to grieve. And the sense of loss is real and it hurts. And the love is real and it continues to give and allow us to grow with it as it doesn't die, it doesn't go anywhere. It's always there.
Thank you so much, Annalise. No, I do understand what you're saying. It's not my contract to be going through all this pain. It's his contract to do. But that's maybe not. That's what I'm saying. But I only in love. I live only with love. And I done this through years and years being angry. Now it's only love. No, it's definitely, I think I definitely agree with you. It's only love. And no, my contract is completely different. Nothing with those, yeah, no. Thank you for for saying thank you. That's beautiful.
I'd like to share a little bit more about that because what you experienced with your father was a quantum entanglement. And there's some really specific energy dynamics in quantum entanglements. And one of the easiest ways to not really look at the full complexity of a quantum entanglement is to dismiss it as a contract. So I would just say, if you're into quantum healing and you understand, the full complex multidimensionality of who we are, there's an opportunity there. And like every opportunity, it comes when it comes and you do what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing it all. All is welcome here. That's why if you want to, except if you want to like dance, and then maybe you can walk to some another room so we don't feel distracted here. But yeah, I love that in all what we all shared, we don't have to go through it alone. And sometimes it's necessary actually to feel like create that space to feel it in a separate room, because you just don't know what comes up. It's scary. But then allowing yourself to, share that with somebody else later. This is how I felt yesterday. I was crying, and and it's okay for me to say it, like creating that. And sometimes it's growth. It's not really always around am I healed or not. Like, we can use different words, and words which can even make us feel a little better that we're not where we were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when we started. And today is a special day, it's a Halloween, and somebody shared with me, I think 2 days ago, that the word spell, like spell a word, but spell, it's powerful, like spell, like a witch when spelling, it has some magic. And that's, when we look back, changing the narrative around after oh sorry, Mike go crazy. It went crazy. Oh my god, you guys didn't see it, but it went crazy. After when we allow ourselves to feel everything what comes up, then looking back and changing certain narratives around from that perspective of owning the victimhood, but later realizing I allow that, and now I have a choice. And what it is to have a choice, like that was another part of my own healing, realizing, wow, I have a choice. I've never had a choice when I was child. Like, it was always like you have to do this or that, and I just grew up without knowing I have a choice. And I'm like 30 years old, realizing, okay, I have a choice. Wow, this is actually touching even now still. Yeah. But Stephen, you have been there with your hand is probably frozen from being up. How are you?
I'm very good. And what something was interesting. So it kind of comes to back full circle. It's, the first question was what, would help us heal. And actually it was this realization that we do have part of us. We have the egoic experience, our whole human, everything that encompasses this human life, right? Our memories, our experiences, what we believe to be true, our thoughts, all of that, our understanding, that's our ego, that's our self, that's our human experience. But I do believe that there is something more. There's something that's beyond this brief existence that's eternal. And that eternal part of us, it's so peaceful and it's so calm. It doesn't judge anything. And so in my understanding, what Annalise was sharing is absolutely right. And what Asta was sharing is absolutely right. And it's this idea that we're sharing from different perspectives and we're seeing the same things, but we're describing something that's beyond our understanding in some cases, because our brains in this plane are focused on a very limited segment of time. But I do believe that there's this spectrum that we can go across where when from the egoic experience where we are small, we're weak, we're fragile, we are afraid, right? We're seeking significance. We want to be loved. We have all that, and time is segmented, right? We have a moment and then another moment. But if we move along that perspective, there's a place where all time is just now, where we're connected with every thought, every moment, every person. We can move our consciousness like it's almost like a focus or a spotlight, and we can put it on any life. So even the people that believe in reincarnation, well, they're right. And the people that believe in a single life, they're right. It's this idea that if all time is now, everything is there. But the healing comes from stepping into that power, and you have to invite it in, because in my understanding, the spirit, that the soul it's not going to deny us any human experience, right? So the suffering and all that, what's strange is that doesn't have that much meaning on that eternal scale, because it's just an experience. It's just, it's a learning. And many of us that have gone through this, I mean, I would not change a thing in my life. I've had some very painful experiences, some very deep loss, a lot of grieving. But with that made me who I am. It forged me into a new understanding. It allowed me to mature, and that pain was actually what prompted me to step onto a new path. The pain was great enough that I took a step and not knowing where I was going to land. I didn't know which direction I was going. I just knew I wanted to go someplace else. And that difference, that ability is something that will allow us to grow. Because if we didn't have that, we would stay in that place of comfort, that place of safety, that place where, that place of familiarity. Sometimes it's better to be in a place of suffering that is familiar than to step into what we don't know. And that's the journey, because we find out that we're much stronger than we realize we are. We're much more capable and I do believe that we are magic in a way. I believe that words have power. I believe that what we say, what we think about, where we place our focus is what expands in our life. And then we can train ourselves to be that. Here, I'm single, but I keep telling my friends that I'm in love because I'm in this state of love. I can remember being in love, and I was in love like 3 years ago. And all of this prompted from somebody sending me a picture, and they said, or it was my picture on Zoom. They said, this guy goes, "You look really good in that picture." He goes, "You need to get back to that weight and whatever is going on in your life." And I laughed and I said, 3 years ago, I was in love, and I was thinner. And he goes, "Well, you need to do that again." And I go, "I am." I'm just not thinner yet. I need to lose the weight. But the thing is I can remember when I was in love, I was walking down the street and the flowers were more beautiful. Life is more beautiful. Things were just more joyous, more happy. And we can create that chemistry. We can create those same endorphins, that same experience. And I'm having that now. I jumped out of an airplane 2 weeks ago. That was a thrill. I mean, it was scary, but it was a beautiful experience. And it involved a high level of trust, a high level of faith. And I just did it. And what I realized is that's part of this growth process. It's waiting. It's moving beyond waiting to be ready. And it's just doing it in life. And for anybody that's in a difficult situation, this is where it kind of gets a little bit hard. to plan a little bit, right? To go through and to make some plans and some steps. But you know, it's that choice of realizing that we are all deserving of something more. And I do believe that we have a part of us that is secure. We have an energy within us that is not only secure, but is connected. There's no loneliness in that space. And also there's no judgment either. There's no self-judgment. There's no internal voice criticizing us. It's just a love of being. It's a love of life. It's a love of being. And if we can connect to that voice, we have an infinite supply of love, of energy, of acceptance. And it's this belief and this understanding that we're here learning. And so just like we don't judge a child when the child is learning to talk or learning to walk, we don't judge ourselves when we make a mistake or when we're finding our way in life. And we're not so hard on ourselves. So that was my learning. And it kind of ties it all together that I do believe that what everyone is sharing is right. We're just sharing it from a very specific perspective. And it means that it can be right for each one of us. But it's this idea that by sharing what we know to be true, and then other person shares what they know to be true, and as we hear what they're saying and understand what they're saying, and because words don't encapsulate all that we're trying to, they just fail us, and so we don't get the full message across, right? It's like trying to have a communication about an emotion. If you're trying to explain how you feel, sometimes that's difficult to do because the other person's not going to get it. And sometimes the words are inaccurate, but we're still communicating how we're feeling, right? So it's this idea of, being accepting of other people and being curious at what they're saying. And I think if we do that, we'll all grow and learn. So thank you.
I have a question. I'd love to know if anybody else here.
Thank you.
The transition that I went through was motivated by curiosity. The awakening that I had was motivated by curiosity. It was not motivated by loss or pain. And I wonder whether anybody else has had that invitation to approach the self and deep exploration of the self from a place just of sheer curiosity rather than pain or loss.
So the thought that comes to mind is that it's just this idea of knowing that there's something missing. And I think that's enough. You don't have to have the answer. Curiosity comes from realizing that you're looking for something, right? You're curious about something.
The curiosity for me was that I had been having spontaneous out-of-body experiences for a while. And I also had the ability to bilocate so that I could shift my consciousness so that it was in two places at the same time, and that had been validated. So my curiosity was about that. And it wasn't that I was missing anything. It was that I was simply curious about these other states of awareness that were able to be coherent with my physical reality. I just wondered whether anybody else here has had that happen for them.
So my thought is somehow or other you connected to the field. You crossed across the spectrum and connected to that place of universal consciousness. But most people, myself and most people that I know, they're operating on a program. They're being the role identity that they believe that they should be. It could be a parent, or it could be a job, it could be whatever, a partner, a spouse. Every moment they're fulfilling a role based off of the beliefs, off of the modeling, off of the experiences. And that fills their day. But they very rarely will actually go into a place of awakening and awareness to question some of these beliefs, to go deeper. And I think that that's what you're talking about. You went deeper and you made that connection. But for me, I would have just been happy to stay in this role of, okay, I'm fulfilling the role of being an engineer and being a spouse or being a father or whatever, and just doing those rote programs that were instilled in me that I believe were true and what I should be doing. If I hadn't gone through something that caused me to pause my thinking and my beliefs and to say, I need something different in this experience. I cannot live in this structure. I cannot live with the beliefs that I have, the rules, and all of that. And so that was the moment, just like yours was curiosity. That was the moment that got me moving and looking for something else.
I think that's really of through life. That's what happens for quite a number of people. And so, but there are also those who it's just the curiosity about being in a different state. And there's no pain, there's no suffering, nobody died, nothing got lost. You're just aware of being in another state that is unusual. And when I had that experience, it didn't have anything to do with belief about anything. I was just in it. So I was just curious because sometimes I think that quality of just the magic presence of life just shows up and you have an opportunity. And it's nothing distressing about it. So I think I'm fortunate in that I've had the bliss of that, but I've also experienced the depth and the quality of having the opportunity to explore what feels like suffering.
If I may just share a little bit about the question or what Anna is asking, that's actually, I noticed when I started questioning, it's all about this life, just work, bills, and die, and that's it. My questions and answers, like this curiosity, what you're saying, just like open up, and my answers starting coming in. No, it's not. It's actually more. And then I was like, interesting, how is this? More I learn about soul, about what I am, not only this body who needs to pay bills, I started more curious. And I just love what you're saying. It's not about pain. It's not about that, but like you're questioning, and it's like calling for you to learn and experience something more. Because then I was like, oh, people traveling, like astral traveling. Oh my God, I want to do this as well. Here you are. I will try to do this way. And here you are. I am in there and I'm in there. I'm like, oh, what else is there? It's not about pain. I think when you're ready, but if I would be like not ready and I would never ask about that, or like, yeah, go to work, pay your bills, and that's about it. You know, I think we need to be ready. The person have to be ready to be curious about the stuff. But when we are ready, I feel the answer coming with the teacher, with the video, with the people. And yes, now what I do, I would never do that like a couple of years ago, and I would never even know what that's possible. But I felt when I asked the question, is this all what it is? Started coming answers. So I would love what everybody would be a little bit more curious in life and started looking, actually, yeah, is this all what it is? No, it's not. Oh my God, it's not. It's so much more there. But we are trained to be just that much, that size. Work, learn, work, kids, family, that's it. That's all you need to do. That's it. Be a good wife, be a good husband, be a this, pay bills, get a house, blah, blah, blah. All this kind of rules. But actually, our house is everywhere. Our life is everywhere. We never will be dying with no food, because we will be provided. Something, it's more there. And that's where's my curiosity every day. What will I learn more about this magic where we call life? But it's not only when you are in pain. I agree with Annalise, and that's what mine would be. I don't live anymore in pain. I more live in curiosity. If that's, if that's what in my mind, I want to grow, learn more, all of this. Thank you so much for this question.
And that's that step somewhere when you go from, I feel like, surviving to thriving, where you start to be running more from, you ask different questions. It's not longer why this happened to me, and it's more You just are open, kind of channeling. But I also wanted to acknowledge, sorry, I had the phone call. I forgot, I am the one who forgot to switch off the my phone. Which I'm celebrating being so genius. I also would like to, before I share the film, I would like to ask if Grace or Nancy would like to share anything around what Anais asked, around curiosity, and what else is there beyond what people are telling me there is, and being that seeker. Or you are all invited. You don't have to switch on the video. Just want to create some space for you, ladies.
And I just wanted to say, I do believe there is power that exists that's supernatural in nature, and so being almost like juvenile people, we can dabble in that area, but always seek love, because there is a power in essence where they're offering significance, they're offering power, they're offering, attraction or attention. And the thing is we already have all of that. So it's deceit. So if you are venturing into that world of meditation or astral projection or any of that, always seek what is loving, always seek what is secure, always seek what will make you protected and feeling whole, because anything else is not good. And it is powerful. So just a warning.
I would clarify that I wasn't seeking any of it. I never have.
But I wasn't speaking.
I with you 100%, because there's been a lot of attention put on, what people often call psychic abilities. And I've had lots of experience where people who were very psychic were not very loving. And so I think there is a discernment. There's a very, very definite process of being discerning, which includes asking questions. And when you can feel everything that you need to feel, and you're really in touch with your entire energy field, then you can instantly know, like, oopsie doodle, I don't think I want to go any further down the line with this person or that thing or this idea, because you can actually feel in your body that it would not be healthy for you. And I think that's a really powerful, wise caution. And if it finds you, you can say yes. But to seek it, I don't recommend seeking any of that. But if it finds you, I would consider saying yes.
Thank you all for this generous contribution. And I'm going to read a comment from Grace. So Grace mentioned in the comments, what helped me to heal was people voices. Thank you for sharing that. And we have with us also Nancy. I understand, Nancy, you don't want to share. That's totally welcome and totally fine. There is no pressure. All right. Would anyone else would like to share, add any story, anything what you guys would tell the younger self who was maybe overwhelmed or maybe lost or maybe feeling like I have to get it perfect, I have to get it, on some timing, and comparing your own process to other people processes and feeling like, oh, I'm not doing good job in my healing. Like, I see Anais moving hands. Yeah, I see Asna smiling. I see Stephen raising hand. Okay.
So what I would share to my younger self is it's just this idea that you are lovable, right? You're good enough. Be perfectly imperfect, right? That's enough. It's enjoy the learning journey, but you don't have to be anything more than you are. And I think that if we can embrace that, then that'll allow for connection and all of that. So if we can embrace that we don't need to be perfect, that the journey that we're going through is just a learning journey, we actually will have greater connection with other people when we try not elevating ourselves because we're enough as we are. So that's what it comes up for me.
And it's like bell, hallelujah, bell. um,
Yeah, that's beautiful because I remember when I was small or whatever, like teenage and all, I actually, when I'm looking back, I'm really proud of her. She was so don't care what other people say. And I think like I am, but actually now when I'm looking after my clients, I'm kind of slowing down myself. Like, okay, maybe you shouldn't say that. Maybe, like, but actually when I was young, and I'm still am, I always want to be different. I didn't like what other people's will be the same like me, and me have to be the same like others. And actually that served me very, very well everywhere, like in wherever I went. And yes, some people don't like it. Good. That's mean I don't need to please them. They are not my friends. And that's what actually I noticed, like being a speaker, I was just learning and teaching and learning and speaking in Germany. And we was like say 20% only didn't care what other people say. And all 80% wanted to please everybody. I'm like, thanks God, I'm not like that. From child, I was everybody wearing blue pants because was no other colors. I will put it in the bleach, created paintings or whatever on it. I want to be different. And not because I wanted to feel, oh, they love me. No, I just want to be me. And that's what I'm screaming and asking for everybody. Please, if you feel that's what you want to impress yourself, like express yourself like this, don't worry about pleasing everybody. We don't need to. We never will. We never will. And I never did. And I never did. And I don't really care because, like I said, they must be not my friends. I don't need to please them. But if front then, they definitely everybody will remember me. Like, am I good or not in them eyes, kind of. But they will remember. And maybe next time they will pass away from me. Or maybe next time they will remember, oh, I remember this one. And that's what my point. I don't need to be pleasing everybody. I want to be me. And please do be more people be themselves, more less gray mouses who's really, really like not daring will be there. And I think more we will be there and saying, okay, I'm not feeling good. Tell it. And that what really would love to, I loved it when Anais was saying about silence. Let's not be silent. Let's not be like little somewhere hiding. Be yourself. And I know if you ask yourself inside, the woman or person or soul or man don't want to be quiet. And that's why we feel pain when we're not expressing ourselves. We're not saying what I feel, or if that pain sits in us. And one day will come out. It's like a ticking bomb. One day it will explode. Could be explode with the pain, could be explode with screaming, or some become killers. That's another bomb. We don't know how it will explode, but it is there. So I think soon as we will let it out and saying and expressing who we are without thinking, oh, I have to make everybody love it, I have to please everybody, I think we'll be just better and we will know more real people without the masks and, real people. And that's who I am. Love me or leave me. I love you all, definitely. Thank you.
And that's really, so brave to, be okay with not everyone, because it's okay to say it, but when you are in this situation and being like, I actually want to embrace it and I want to wear those pants which are bleached and like colorful, like, and it's somewhere, going to our ancestors, betraying what, that conditioning of being in line and being kind of, if you're a woman, marriageable, or if you're a man, being kind of, I don't know, whatever the society taught you how you should be. And it's well, what brings that word which comes to me, it's that awakening. Like, because there is a line of healing, but there is also, you can be awakening when you're healing too. And that's what came to me, like that consciousness and the unity of that there is a part of us who knows all the answers somewhere. And the universe and the God itself, which is, always through divine power with us, never leaves us. And when I think about my, hardest moments in life, and I know that many people experience that too, you can you can either feel it or reject the feeling. Like, no, I don't need it. I'm fine. But it's always present. And if you're watching it, I want you to know that you are loved. You are loved. And yes, I think we can start the screening if, or would anyone would like to add any last thought? I know we shared a lot and enough already, but I like to leave the mic just because of like giving extra space. I see Stephen. Yeah.
Just one little thought is, we fight so hard to keep people in our space before we're healed. But once we're healed, we'll make space. We'll actually be okay with a void. And the people that will come into your life after you're healed, that are attracted to you, to that healed energy, they're the most accepting, the most loving. They will be true to their values. They'll be true to what they believe. So they won't support you if there's something that violates their values, but they'll talk to you about it, and they'll support you in everything else. Like they will support you even if they don't agree with you. It's such a beautiful space, because those are the kindest people. They're the easiest people to get along with. They're the most fun, and they're the most loving. You will feel loved, you'll feel supported, and it will just be a friend. There's no transaction required. And that's something to look forward to, because it's when you have those people in your life, they just make life better.
I love that. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. And now is the time. Time is a funny thing. But I want to thank you all for contributing. And if you want to take a few minutes break, go to bathroom, I'm going to share the screen and start the documentary. We just healed life after abuse. That's the title. Okie dokie. Share. And I'm going to share the sound.
And I just wanted to thank you again, Anastasia, for the work that you put into this, and everything that you've pulled together. So thank you so much for the work you do.
Thank you. Thank you for receiving and also for giving. I think, can you see it? Yeah, okay. All right. this is not only a story of those 88 people, but this is a story of so many of us. My name is Anastasia Gajkowska, and when I left my abusive relationship, I wanted to create a movie, a film, a documentary where I interview not only survivors, but thrivers. I mean, people who left abusive relationships and they are really thriving now. I flew to Hollywood to learn the art of making films. I asked 8 questions. This documentary is a sample of combined stories. I use my laptop camera, my phone camera. Many recordings you will see in this documentary were filmed by survivors in their own home. All our participants decided to share their story voluntarily. 88 stories, one soul, one voice, one calling for the whole humanity. Hello and welcome. In this episode, we're going to talk about healing. What helped those 88 survivors, thrivers, who shared their stories in Exposé documentary to heal their body, their mind, and their soul.
Takes on average 7 to 10 times to leave.
I was a mess, in emotional turmoil. Well, I'm free. I can do what I want. I started using cocaine just to try and suppress the emotions that I couldn't deal with. I wasn't being Jennifer. I wasn't being me.
I'm essentially in a prison, the same way he's in a prison. There is no way I'm going to allow him to have any more of a negative influence over me in my life. I was like, I'm going to take control of this.
I'm not going to allow them to rent space in my mind and in my soul, because maybe I spent that season of my life hurt, but I'm not going to give them my future.
What helped me the most to heal is therapy and believing in myself.
10 years I wasted sitting on the couch, not making a decision because I didn't think that I was capable of making a decision. I realized that I could choose to do or be anything that I wanted.
If you've been through narcissistic abuse, your self-esteem will be rock bottom. And that's okay. You can get well. You can heal. And the first thing that you'll need to do is take your healing into your own hands. Use your intuition to guide you through the process of what will help you the most. Get your team of healers and follow your heart.
Can know that, you're not alone and that you can survive. You don't have to be a victim. You can be a survivor.
Sometimes we just need someone to be strong for us until we can be strong for ourselves.
Someone needs to say, I get it, it hurts, I understand, and you're right, and we're going to help you get through this, and we're going to do it together. Then they have the strength to do almost anything.
The thing I'm proud of myself is finding a person that specializes in narcissistic abuse.
You can't process if you're repeating everything over and over in your head. You can't process if you're not talking.
Being heard and being seen is really important at that phase of just really understanding oh my gosh, I was injured. That was an injury, you know? Whether there was a physical injury that was visible or not, that's not the point. Trauma of any kind is an injury.
My therapist was like, yeah, this person, this family member is an asshole. And I didn't catch it then because I was so used to being dismissed. It's like, yeah, no, but you don't understand. Like, this person's done this and this and this to me. Then I realized, wait, she actually affirmed what I had to say. And that's, I think, one of the first times I felt heard.
My feelings tell me if I'm happy, if I'm sad. My feelings tell me if I trust this person or I don't trust this person. My feelings tell me if I feel safe with this person or unsafe with this person. So feelings are everything. So getting back in touch with my feelings is really, really critical. The problem is if I'm the adult child of a dysfunctional parent, I've been taught that my feelings don't matter.
Confront the pain, and you can't use substance to numb the pain.
To feel your feelings, stop eating them, stop smoking them, stop drinking them, stop sexting them, stop Netflixing them, stop exercising them, stop avoiding them, stop repressing them. Feel them.
You don't have to justify your actions of why you feel your feelings to anyone. They are yours.
Grieving. It's really important. You don't want to overstep that one. And that's a place where talk therapy, where counseling can be very, very helpful.
You know, a lot of times we are grieving for the parent we never had, the parent we don't have now, and the parent that they will never be. And we have to allow time for that as well. It's definitely a lot of grief and loss.
I need to take care of me. And so that's what I did. And I did grieve. It was difficult, but it was cleansing. It allowed me to open my mind to possibilities.
He still wrote me an email a month ago how much he loves me and wants me back. And now I'm finally angry about it. I'm like, who do you think you are? It took me 14 months to get to the anger.
Start to learn who I am again.
Loving myself and forgiving myself.
I felt as if every moment that I walked away from something bad, I gained so much within myself because it was this like yes to my like being and to myself that I learned how to like unconditionally love me.
Like I remember just like lying on the floor and just being like, I just sort of let go. Like I just really fully let go.
You're transmuting that energy, right, into the natural other elements, right? Earth, air, water, wind, metal. Use them. Earth is plentiful.
Knowing my worth and that I didn't have to be mistreated like that ever again.
Tam się mi otworzyły oczy, że relacja, którą stworzyłam ze swoim byłym mężem, była poniekąd przeniesieniem relacji z moją mamą, gdzie nie czułam takiego dowartościowania, jakie potrafi dać mama swojej córce.
Zaczęłam być coraz bardziej świadoma, uzdrawiałam siebie, bo wiedziałam, że mam jakieś deficyty, tak, że ja też po coś go potrzebowałam. Nie kocham siebie, w ogóle nie mam żadnych granic. W ogóle nie wiedziałam, co to są granice, tak? Każdy mógł ze mną robić, co chciał. Byłam zawsze dla wszystkich, tylko nie dla siebie.
Realizing I don't have to explain myself to anyone else as long as I know what I'm doing is right for me and it's not hurting anyone else and it's on the path of love, then it's okay.
And now I understand that limerence is part of trauma. Codependency is an addiction because we are so physiologically trauma bonded to that individual.
I don't know who I am. If he dies, I will die too. I have 2 children. I couldn't even think for them.
Open your mind to possibilities and experience things. It changes how you interact with people.
You need to feel the fear and do it anyway. Like leaving is not easy. He just made me feel old, ugly, worthless, that no one would want me, that he was the best I was ever going to get, that I could never do anything better than him, with the constant voice voice and, you know, everything that they're saying, you just like, oh, it must be true.
I deserve better. I really deserve better.
I needed to dig deep and know that I was worthy of having better opportunities, and so are my children.
You to forgive yourself. That comes with, you know, letting it out, letting everything out and saying it's not your fault, because you're beautiful and you can do whatever you want to do. You know, it took me a long time because I was told those things too. Now I get my nails done whenever I want, and I don't care.
See the best parts of me and to honor the best parts of me.
I don't need another person to be whole. I know what I am. Nobody else can take that away.
I was working on me. I was working on becoming stronger in my mind, in my body. I was nourishing myself with affirmations. I was going out in nature, and I wanted to nourish myself back to health by looking after my body, by appreciating my body, appreciating everything I'd been through. For every bruise, I was nourishing me again, step by step, bit by bit, and building myself up, and I still am.
It was the movement therapy that really helped me to get past this freezing when I was, you know, when we're in a disagreement. And I still go back to it now, and it felt really uncomfortable doing movement therapy because it's not something that I even knew about. Getting down on the floor and feeling the floor and grounding myself with my hands and my feet, and then moving up into standing. And another one was stomping, soft stomping, and how did I feel when I did hard stomping. And the things that came up when I was doing this therapy totally blew my mind. You know, situations that I had obviously blocked out that I witnessed as a child. And yeah, the movement therapy and dance therapy was just, it was so different to anything I've ever experienced. And it certainly shifted things through my nervous system, which is what it is to do, is to get back to your nervous system, to change your reaction to situations so that you don't. So I didn't go into that freeze mode when, you know, my husband wanted to talk about something I didn't want to talk about, really. When we were doing it, it reminded me of being in bed with my mum, because I would sleep with her to protect her. And one night my dad was sneaking. He snuck into his own house to try and frighten my mum. And, you know, that's the stomping reminded me of him doing that. And, you know, it was something that I had blocked out. And it was really bizarre, because she said, first of all, walk really lightly, and do you feel anything? And then, you know, stomp really hard, and now do you feel anything? And you know, and these memories came up that I didn't even think I had, you know, like it was amazing to me. And to be able to move through that and release those things and release that fear that I felt in those situations, that I'd held on to in my nervous system for so many years. It was, yeah, it was really.
I focus on EMDR therapy.
Like basically EDMR, what they do is they do this thing where there's music playing in the background and you have to follow their fingers like this, and then they ask you questions, and it's a bit like they put you into a state of how the different parts of the brain activate. Is basically, it's like a nightmare, but where you're awake. It's really unpleasant, but what it does is all that stuff that is suppressed, because you see, essentially all nightmares are, and panic attacks and PTSD is just blockages within your system. Obviously, you know, your body's energy centers, and when we experience trauma, it creates blockages, especially when we don't want to deal with that and we suppress. And when we suppress, it causes, you know, these blockages, so that memories and things, it just can't be processed. So by having this very intensive treatment, it basically processed all of that stuff. And the EDMR, it was interesting because when I was doing it, it's like you can't really control the stuff that you're saying. It just, because it's just coming out from your subconscious. And I ended up talking about stuff to do with my first husband, so the husband before the abusive one, and stuff to do with my childhood. And it was stuff I didn't even really know that was even affecting me.
Healing is when I share my story and listen to other people, their story, and that's really makes me free.
What really helped me to heal from all those abusive relationships, which I'm still healing from, is mostly sharing my story in a community of people who have experienced what I experienced. So that's why I believe in power of community and sharing your story, and that's why I created Exposé, to give the same opportunity for those who need it.
And I would have to sleep with a metal pole by my bed, although he was in prison and my mind knew I was safe. I still didn't feel safe. My child had 18 months of counseling as well.
Is that if you don't know what you enjoy, because you were with the narcissist for so long, do something that they hate. Over time, the more you get to know yourself, the more you feel like you're going to live, that you know you're okay alone.
Moments that I was like, just get on Tinder, like just like escape. And it really, meditation and going and like really diving into my spirituality.
But I will say, the only reason that I was able to push through and make it through any of that is because I chose to give my life to a higher power. I realized that it's not about me, but it's about the calling that we all have that most people miss in their lives. Me meeting you.
If you don't address your past, you really don't ever get to course correct for your future.
You have to evaluate, what part did I play in this?
Questioning myself and always asking myself, does this feel good for me? Is this right for me? Am I thriving? Am I accomplishing my own goals?
I know that I love myself the way that I am.
Because there were days I forgot to bathe, and there were days that I didn't brush my teeth. So it's hard. And if you are judging yourself in your healing process against the other, like I talked about, this other that you can't name, they don't have faces, they're just the other people must do it better. No, nobody does healing better. It's ugly.
I was left with anxiety disorder, PTSD. I was diagnosed with battered women syndrome. I was having panic attacks, nightmares, flashbacks. I had hypervigilance. I was on tablets from the doctor for my anxiety and depression. And then they gave me tablets to help me with my sleeping because I wasn't sleeping. And I would have to sleep with a metal pole by my bed, although he was in prison and my mind knew I was safe. I still didn't feel safe. And whenever I heard a loud noise or anything like that, I would instantly jump, have a panic attack. And I knew that although the tablets helped, they were only really dealing with the symptoms, and I knew I needed to go underneath to the root cause. So I started therapy. I mean, I managed to find a therapist who understood sexual abuse and domestic abuse and everything. And I probably worked with her for 6 or 7 months. Sometimes I'd have 2 sessions a week. It was very intense. You need to educate yourself. You need to get a support network. You need to get professional help. You need to cleanse your environment. And when I say cleanse, I mean block everyone and everything associated to your ex and, you know, that network. You need to work on implementing boundaries. And all of this you need to do with self-love, self-care, and self-compassion, because healing is hard, healing is messy, and you'll have good days and you'll have bad days, but you can get there. I mean, I'm now in a position where I don't have PTSD, I don't have nightmares, I don't have panic attacks. I'm not on any form of medication. I'm in a happy, healthy relationship. My daughter is fine. You know, so you can get to a point of complete darkness to a place of complete light and happiness. It is possible. In the UK, you can attend this program. It's called the Freedom Program, and it's like a 12-week group session where you go, you meet with other women, and you work through a program. And it's basically you getting the knowledge and the information about the different tactics that an abusive man uses, and also on a contrast what a healthy relationship looks like. But because it's done in a group setting, you don't feel so alone and you're able to share your experience, and I found that really helpful. When we leave that relationship, the only way to win playing a game with a narcissist is to go no contact, is to not engage, is to, or if we have to have contact with them, imagine if you're, you know, on that football field, if you just stand still and you're just there responding, maybe something's thrown at you and you go like this or you go like this, but you're not running and really investing emotional energy. Essentially, that is how you win with a narcissist, because they'll get bored. We're viewing these, you know, this person, we love them, we want to be with them, we think they're going to be the father or mother of our children, we think we're gonna build a house or buy a house or have some retire together, and that is the hook. So, you know, and that's also the thing, going back to why when we leave, it is hard, because we have bought into this dream, we have bought into this fairy tale that they have sold us. So, and we genuinely believe that that is what was going to happen with that person. So when we leave, we grieve, we are sad, we have, yes, that person was abusive and never deserved us, but we have still experienced loss. The best approach you can take, because if you think about it, you are addicted to this person, and any time you have any contact with them, what you are doing, it's like you are giving yourself a shot of that drug.
If I look at my x-ray of my spine and see my 15 bulging discs, I want it to remind me of how far I've come and not where I was.
It was the biggest blessing of my life. It was the biggest awakening, because I had to face my parent, my inner child.
And I've had folks say to me, I will never be grateful for what happened to me. I will never have gratitude for what happened to me. And that's their choice. And I choose to be grateful for what happened to me, because it set me off on this path of discovery that is amazing. Inherent in that, it is going to be for a lifetime. So for me, in order to know that healing takes a lifetime, I have to find some gratitude in what occurred. I have to find gratitude in the fact that My children lived through, you know, the person who abused me was not their father. So my children lived through loving someone and investing in someone who was a complete charade and a horrific human being. And then as a mother, I have to go back to them and apologize. And some of my children are fine with that apology, some are not. And that's something I'll have to navigate for the rest of my life. And so I choose gratitude. And maybe somebody else has a word for it that's different as far as looking at the lifelong healing. Some people talk about forgiveness. I am not a fan of that. And that might be because I love the boundary of I can put somebody, you know, through a window and very far away. I don't live in hatred, but I view myself as Switzerland. And Switzerland, you know, has always been the neutral country. And growing up, it was my favorite country because I thought, oh my gosh, how cool is this? They're not getting involved in anything. And so for me, it's not forgiveness because the choices were horrific that this person made in issuing abuse against me and my children, against my family, because it does affect families. But I don't care if anything really, really, really good happens to him. I also don't care if anything really, really, really bad happens to him. Like if he wins the lottery, good for him. If he never has to work a day in his life, good for him. I don't care. So this neutrality of is not, it doesn't cling to me. It doesn't make me think about him. It doesn't make me, oh my gosh, I have to forgive or I can never let go. I've already let go. I let go like way back in the summer of 2016. And so that ability for me might be different than somebody else. Whatever you can put onto healing that allows you to keep healing is the part that is most important to do. And however you get there is most important to do because it is going to be a lifetime. And, you know, I wouldn't have even connected what if I'd left then, except he was in the picture. And I wouldn't have even connected him to an event because he's not in my brain, but he was in the picture. And it made me think, what if I had left at 9 months? It'd take me another 6 years to leave. What if I had left 11 years ago on this day? And you then have to deal with what that feels like. And so for me, it's a big pause. It's a big exhale. It's meditating on how lucky I am to be alive and away from him, regardless of how long it took, and moving forward. And those things are going to happen. And usually, because your body does keep the score, sometimes it's Facebook memories, sometimes it's, gosh, I can't shake this feeling. Oh, it's that date. You know, and I'm not thinking about it. My body is reacting to something. And then I look at a calendar, I'm like, oh, I remember that date. Again, it's not ever present. For some people early in their journey, it could be ever present. Again, whatever healing format you need to take to navigate it, your healing shouldn't be compared to anybody else's, but keep seeking out the tools and the resources so that those good days, even when you have a memory that randomly pops up, it's you can navigate it better.
It's a healing journey. Sometimes it can take a while to kind of walk out of the woods. However long it took us to walk into the woods might be how long it takes to walk out. And there's no like prize for first place. There's no timeline. It's all about, you know, being in a place of readiness to do that hard internal work.
I do believe that healing is possible for everyone. And I do believe that life can be much, much better than it ever was, and even than they imagined it can be. It's all about coming out of that trance of misery and starting to discover what's good about your life and what's good about yourself. You know, and then one of the things you can like about yourself is, goodness me, I've become the kind of person who can be positive because I've looked at a flower, because I can enjoy that. I've become the kind of person who can enjoy things. Whoa, do I even know myself? What else am I capable of? And then you start to grow and blossom and get fascinated about yourself.
Healing is possible. I started like the healing journey long ago, like 7 years ago, and I have gotten a lot better. But I wouldn't say like I'm gonna stop and now I'm gonna like just stop doing that. For me, it's a practice. Every day that I go back to my practices, like, you know, doing some movement exercises, like embodiment practices, maybe breathing exercises, you know, just something to keep me grounded and whole and balanced and regulate my emotions.
Your healing process is yours to own and yours to navigate, and don't judge it against anybody else. Just know that the continuation of one foot in front of the other.
Healing is happening all the time. It doesn't mean that you have to follow a certain formula or do a certain amount of things. It's very personal. It starts with you. But once you have made that decision, and of course, you, like with many things, you'll go one step forward and two steps back. It's not all, you know, one clear straight road. But that shift is present in your energy, in your tone of voice, in, you know, even when you lose your temper, it's there. It's like an energetic signature that others will see, feel, and it can, you know, this is what something I think is fascinating, that we are now moving into this information age. It's an energetic age. It's a, you know, a creator economy, many things, ways you can call it. But the fact is that we are learning that we're more than just physical beings. There is so much that we can actually heal by being open to it ourselves, by having an insight into what is it, by identifying it, and also I think being responsible and growing. It's a kind of a growing up, taking responsibility for the future, and this comes to healing the planet and the environment, that you do have the power to change things, because it's a message of a lot of hope. You know, if we didn't have this opportunity to heal and to heal generations backwards and forwards, they even say, but definitely if we're looking at it from a linear point for our children, then that is a message of hope. And it's why we've evolved and we keep evolving.
Everything is made up of energy. So when you're picking up from conditioning and patterning and paradigms in your life, you're not just picking it up from your life alone. You're not just picking it up from your parents. But this, if you do not heal this, if you do not break the pattern, it goes back 7 generations back and forth. So whatever you do not heal within yourself, you are passing on to your kids and your kids, kids, and so on.
Survivors who never healed. So now they're becoming abusers. And that's the cycle. It's our responsibility to heal from it and not to spread it, because then you take it out on your children, you take it out on people in the store. We need to stop and heal ourselves, and that's gonna heal the society, that's gonna heal this planet.
You need a why. What is yours? What is your why? Why do you still fight to get up in the morning? Why do you get a job? It's not just to have a car. It's not just to have an apartment. There's something else.
Everything is a reflection, and my outer reality is a reflection of my inner reality. So if you have people in your life that are abusive or critical, then it means you're being like that to yourself. Are you saying to yourself, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm undeserving, I'm unworthy, I'm not enough, nobody wants me? You're literally vibrating in fear. Fat. Like, would you say any of those things to anybody else? What do you want to say to yourself instead? How do you actually want to feel? Make a list of all the qualities and traits that you would love to embody and be like. Why am I so happy, healthy, and abundant? You do it while you're moving, while you're dancing, and you're the most important person in your life. So own it and go and have fun. Go and do what you want to do. Do what brings you joy and do more of that every single day.
I ended up changing what I was attracted to. I was attracted to the tough, hard, kind of a guy, and I changed and was attracted to a completely different kind of a guy.
I'd broken the pattern. And he was like, why would I? Why would I ever treat you with a lack of respect? Why would I ever treat you with a lack of love and respect that you deserve? And I was just like, it's gone. Because my energy shifted, because I chose me. I decided this is what I want and I am not tolerating anything less.
I'm going to say yes to myself. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to respect my boundaries. I'm going to celebrate myself.
It is your life. Your life is a choose your own adventure. Your life is a story that you get to write. You are the author of your own story. So do not sit there and play the role of the victim, be like, everything happens to me. No. You get to consciously choose and consciously create. And that is when you actually get to literally take back your power, because you're like, I am choosing this, or I am tolerating this. So if you are stuck in that position right now, then recognize and realize that you have a choice.
And I've had people kind of say to me, oh, well, why did you stay? Did you enjoy the abuse? I was asked that recently, and I was like, please don't try to understand it unless you've been in the situation yourself. And every situation is going to be different. But until you've been through something as traumatic as being in an abusive relationship, it doesn't necessarily always have to be physical. Coercive control, it can destroy someone. But in my situation, I had all forms of abuse.
How can we help a friend that might be in this abusive type relationship? I would say first and foremost, be a listener for them. Let them know that you are there for them no matter what, that you can create a safe space for them if they need to. You may even help them create a safety plan of some sort if they're, trying to get out. But I would also say that you have to meet your friend where they are. And there's a good chance that they're not maybe ready to leave yet, even though harm is being inflicted. And we have to honor that. We have to honor where the people are. I think it takes several times sometimes for people to leave abusive relationships. There's a lot of leaving and then going back, and we're just going to be that stable, steadfast person in their lives that is ready to listen whenever they need us.
And that when we are the friend of someone who's trying to leave an abusive relationship, the more I tell that person to leave, the more anxious that person's going to be. And now they're insecure even more. So what happens to them psychologically is they default to the person that they think makes them feel secure, which is the narcissist. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we educate ourselves and we know as much as we can about this person's fear of what's going to happen next. And let's face it, there are narcissists out there that are physically violent. Like our fear of being hurt is real. Our fear of a narcissist hurting our children is real. Our fear of a narcissist destroying our reputation, destroying our business, it's real. Our fear of being financially ruined, it's all real. So our fears are not invalid. In fact, they're valid, but we stay because we're trying to avoid that potential. And so if a friend comes along and says, oh, you're in a bad situation, you should leave him, I'm only going to freak out even more and secure myself with him even more, because that's what makes me feel safe. Because if you try to validate a narcissistic abuse survivor too quickly, they won't believe you, because the narcissist has conditioned them to believe that they're the narcissist. They're the problem. And so you have to be very gentle when dealing with a narcissistic abuse survivor so that they can start sharing things about their experience, in their time. And I think sometimes as friends of narcissistic abuse survivors, we just want to hoorah and pat them on the back. They're coming out of a fog. It doesn't feel natural to be suddenly be validated after so many decades and weeks and months of being invalidated.
What is your superpower?
My strength, and knowing that I can think it, believe it, and achieve it.
My ability to share my experiences.
Unconditional love.
Vulnerability, honesty, love.
I'm always willing to help people.
My heart.
I can love the people who have hurt me.
I can sense people.
Es resiliencia.
Being able to speak.
I'm a very, very fast learner.
The ability to relate to all different kinds of people.
I still always see the best part of every person.
Bringing people together.
I can find anything, anywhere.
I'm very supportive.
I'm just superwoman, honey.
Intuition.
Realizing my character.
To see the good in others.
Listening.
Courage.
My mother.
Authenticity.
To make friends.
Deep connection.
My ability to grow.
Helping others. Growing.
Listen to my heart.
It's creativity and innovation.
Is recombobulation.
Is being me.
Seeing the world with wonderment.
Patient.
To understand at a very deep level.
Love.
Bring out the deeper parts in people.
To think logically.
Self-healing.
Motivate people from the heart.
A wszystkie kobiety, które dzisiaj słyszeliście, są dowodem na to, że ta zmiana jest warta tego, żeby ją podjąć i warta jest tego, żeby o siebie zawalczyć.
This was an experience that actually helped us learn how to love ourselves better.
Everything isn't happening to you. Everything's happening for you. We don't have to get trapped in the past story. Instead of believing that we're broken and wounded and nobody will ever love me, we need to shift that perspective and say, no, I'm a warrior. I survived the unthinkable. And now I am stronger and better. I have gone through it and I've come out even better than before.
Someone else out there is living our life. Someone else out there is living the life that all of these survivors and thrivers have escaped right here, right now. You can pick up any newspaper. You can go online to any news outlet and you'll hear about mostly women, some men, but mostly women who are killed by their boyfriends, who are killed by the children of their father. You hear it all the time. And so there's someone out there right now that is living your survivor story. And when you start speaking, you give that person hope. So suddenly, with the hope, they start to have this idea of choice. And that is really possible. That's where you can really help someone create great impact in that person's life, which And if they stay on the path, they can then in turn create great impact in their life. They can end generations of trauma. They can end generations of codependency, generations of women and men picking the wrong partners and staying and not understanding what's going on. And I think that is so encouraging. And that's why you do what you do, because you want to encourage people to awaken and to take ownership over their life in a powerful way and to tell their story.
You just don't know what people have gone through in this life to live, to stay alive, to breathe, to not cry, to hide their laughter because someone else doesn't want them to laugh. Someone says, oh, well, blah, blah, blah has happened to me. Immediately take a breath and say, what if that were me? How could I handle that?
Your reality can change. Who you are can evolve. You need to focus on love to access the reality of who you are. You need to embrace love in your life.
But that's what we're missing in this universe. It's love. And that is the antidote to hate, crime, pain, depression, anxiety, and hurting each other.
Hi, thank you so much for watching this episode. And I would love to invite you for the next episode where Exposé experts are sharing all the ways of healing our mind after we leave an abusive relationship. If this episode resonates with you, please go to exposenetwork.com. You will find the link below, and we would love to learn more about you and your story. Could you do me a favor and share this episode with at least 2 of your friends who might be going through some difficult, challenging relationships? Remember, together we can make a difference. Thank you. You can thrive and you can be happy after an abusive relationship. Do you have a story to share?
It's night in the city, and I'm on my way back home. Humming on my favorite ditty, swinging like Natalie Cole. But then out of the blue, who strolls down the boulevard but you? Your place is closer than mine. Why don't we go there and have some more wine? 'Cause life is for living. Let's see where this all might lead. Let's see where this all might lead. Waking up to a brand new day in between your sheets, breaking up in the best of ways, and I'm back again on the street. But then out of the blue, a wind starts blowing in ways so new, a world more exciting than mine. It's holding up a great big welcoming sign. Life is for living. Let's see where this all might lead.
No.
Honey, you are muted.
Oh, good. I was like, I was just welcoming Paulette. Thank you for coming. And also Josanne. I hope that's the Josanne I know. you are invited to share. We have a few more minutes before we close the last second part of open panel, the last insights, thoughts, what came for you, what feels important to share. It has to be really late for you, Paulette, like 3 a.m. Yeah.
It's joyous. That's what it was. Joyous.
Joyous?
It was, yeah, joyous. That's the word that I would use, joyous. To show recovery and to show light and to show that life goes on. And it's joyous.
Mm. Yeah, there is hope. Yeah. Yeah. And it creates this possibility, like all those 88 of us is doing it, and we make it possible for the whole globe through doing that work and healing. And I mean, the 88 is just a symbol of like we are going through it all together. Yes, and thank you for sharing that. Would anybody else would like to? Oh, I see you, beautiful, raising your hand. Yes, what came for you, Asta?
I loved when one girl was saying, you know, and that's what I really, really biggest message for me, you know, love. It's all about love. If we will be starting from young age for people, for kids, and if we would hear that ourselves, but love is more important, or not to be a good wife or be a good this and don't do this, you know, love, what I really, really want to kind of say. And love is not only romantic love, like for someone else, love for yourself. And this love word is like used so many times without any meaning. And then we stop believing in love. And my biggest point of all of this, never stop believing in love. Don't believe in that person who break that, you know, believe that trust. But don't ever stop believing in love. Love is the biggest, the most biggest, strongest power in this world. We came from love, love of God, love of universe. Everything is about love, this big, big, powerful energy. If we would embrace it, everybody would be no worse, would be no any other things. But we don't believe in love because somebody romantically or somehow other way ruined that. Like, you know, and now we think love is nothing, love is not existing. And I was there myself. I was there myself. If somebody would say, I love you, I'm like, yeah, what do you want? What's going on? What? You know, because the break was there, the trust of love. But love is not only this believing, you know, of someone, one person. Love is everything and starts from within. So let's ask how much I love in myself, and then how much I'm giving this love and sharing to others. And yes, maybe that person who was abusing us, we still may be feeling some negative feelings, but let's change that in love. Love them because they didn't come as babies planning, well, when I grow up, I will be this terrible person. No, must be something happened in them life, but they become like that. So everybody deserves love, no matter how terrible it was there. But I believe in love, and I want what everybody starting saying, I want to believe in love. So let's rise this love energy. That's my biggest wish of all. And I'm sending you all big, big, big wave of love. Mwah. Thank you.
That felt so good. Thank you. Thank you, Asta, for sharing. I also see Paulette is raising her hand. You are invited to open mics and yeah, sure.
Talking to the mute button. I just wanted to say that one of the best ways to heal is to then go on to succeed, and to succeed in love, and to receive love the way that you know you're meant to, and to give love the way that you thought you would. So for me, that is a great way of showing that you've healed, because you've been able to get to the point in life where you've not only healed yourself that you can love again, but that you can receive love. That's what I believe. That's the true sense that you've healed inside. I'm not saying you ever forget, because I don't think you ever do forget, but you just are able to be in a position where you've forgiven, moved on, and allowed your life to improve, really, and to go and to look for that thing that you always thought you were going to have, but it wasn't in the previous relationship, the abusive relationship. It wasn't there. So you were looking for a gem that was never available to you. Whether it was there once and before the abuse or not, the fact of the matter was the gem was gone. And so when you accept that, and then you've moved on and you find the gem, you can actually enjoy the gem with someone and have a really faithful and loving relationship without that fear of what if it goes wrong again. And I think that is the most healing thing that of the people that I've worked with, to hear that they've done that and they've got to that place and they found laughter again and they found humor again, and they've learned to be sarcastic and take the mickey out of each other and not expect to get a smack on the chops, or not expect to get not spoken to for a week. You actually get that humor where you feel confident in that relationship. That to me is when you know you're healed. Does anybody agree?
Yes, it feels good to hear you speaking that. And also you got comments from Anais. Totally agree. Anais says looking for your car keys in your sock drawer. Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't look for the gem in the sewer tunnel.
Exactly. Yeah. And that really is when you're talking to people in the therapy room and they say, I think I'm ready to fall in love again.
Yeah.
You go, wow.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yeah, it's really an amazing moment to feel the opportunity, to recognize the opportunity, to say yes to the opportunity, and to just be ready to sort of go and grow again. It's cool. It's cool.
And
yeah.
Also, what I have here a comment from, let me read it, from Josanne. Thank you for joining us, and it's not too late. The time is perfect. Well, somebody said, yeah, love of self most important, and the compassion, yes. And I feel that, if you grew up being told you are bad, you have got a lot of punishment, so you have this image of you being bad. Then you please do different things to, get that love. Maybe if I do this, I will get better. I'll be good. It's a conditional kind of thing. So when we're going through the healing, it feels like being selfish and realizing, what people call selfish, realizing that this is for me and doing it consciously. Consciously choosing what feels good for me in the moment and feeling the unfamiliarity and the discomfort of, okay, this might, realizing that the disappointments and whatever comes up is only a projection of the past. It's sometimes, repeating in our minds what used to be from the past. And that's why I do believe that the therapy is important and the time alone is important and the support and just having your people who believe in you, who treat you well, who show your brain that you deserve to be treated with divine love, with divine respect, that your no means no, that if you need a time alone, yes, please. It can, I feel like maybe it's a simple thing, but somebody can say, but if you've never been around that, it feels like, wow, I can feel good around saying no, and people don't walk away, and I didn't die. Why am I feeling in my body I'm going to die each time I stand up? So it's this uncomfortableness and our ability to feel it all when it comes. And yeah, and I'm learning it all still. So thank you. I see that Paulette wanted to mention something. Disagree. You can disagree as much as you want.
No. On the contrary, when you've got so much subconscious mind full of negativity, it takes an awful lot of the conscious brain and mind to be able to counter it. And for me, the more positive you become, the more positive that your outlook is, the more positive you believe in a future, the more you dampen down that subconscious eruption of memory, so that eventually you can push it and file it in the filing cupboard, so that your mind is able to fully enjoy being present. But it's also about this loving yourself. That's the same for everybody, whether they're damaged or not. We all need to love ourselves first before you can love someone else. And when you have got this amount of punishment, this amount of hate, this amount of damage to you, it just puts you at such a disadvantage that it's so much harder to get there as quickly. Like some people fall in love in a heartbeat, bang, oh, I fall in love with this guy. That would never happen to one of us, because we're always on the lookout, we're always watching, we put them through like all these tests to make sure they pass, because you can't help yourself, because all of that subconscious mind says, don't forget this happened and don't forget that happened, so watch for a reaction now. And when there isn't one, you go, oh, okay, tick, and it's almost like you are doing a mental checklist to say that this person that you're now with is true, is honest, is everything you wanted. And I think that is such a hard thing to do. But you watch that program of joyous women saying they've come through everything that you could come through, and at the other side of it, there's not just hope, but there's love. Love for themselves and love for others. That's huge.
Yeah, very well said, Paulette. It's also when you sort of shift from the checklist activity to really being able to see when people that you're interacting with are modeling with you what it is that you aren't used to having or you aren't used to experiencing, because they're out of being reactive. They're into their ability to just be present while you're doing whatever it is that you need to do or be. Seeing that modeling is, I think, one of the very powerful interim steps, especially for healing the inner child, because that part of life for a lot of people that never had that modeling in their families of origin. So I think that's a really wonderful barometer. And then when you're able to be fully present and discerning, and you're really in touch with who you are, you don't need a mental checklist, because your body and your heart and your nervous system is affirming that what it is that you are sharing and transmitting and giving out is coming back to you. And there's a real beautiful coherence when that occurs on so many levels. So, I mean, you know, we get there eventually. Hopefully we don't run out of time, and we get there. It's a wonderful kind of, for me, it's another version of curiosity, but I think the modeling really matters.
And the brain is amazing, the neuroplasticity, how the brain can actually, you know, all those researchers showing that however the trauma change your brain, it can just change back, like at any age. That brings also so much hope. And we can model for each other. That's also another thing, and that's what we are doing here in, I hope that was somewhere my intent, that there is no wrong or right answer, and it's everything is welcome. And thank you for being here, because I know you guys could do so many things, like sleeping, for example, if you're in Ireland or UK, but you choose to be here. So I do appreciate your energy, your contribution. It means a lot. And for those who are watching online, know that you are loved, that love is possible and available. And I hope that all the golden nuggets from today, first part of open panel and the second one, which is still going on, that if you got even a little bit of it, that's really important. That's why we are here today, because you matter, and I want you to know that. Thank you. Thank you all. And anyone, the last words of wisdom, of insight, or we can all go eat and sleep and enjoy and be curious and play.
Just never ever stop believing in love. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen.
And I would share is find out what works for you. It's that possibility, and I really love what you just shared. You know, never stop believing in love, but also just be curious and find out what works for you.
Yes. Yes. And a nice, your hand is up.
No, I was giving a thumbs up to Stephen.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all, and have a beautiful the rest of your night, sleep, and see you in the next 2 weeks. For anyone who wants to see, we'll be having experts like psychologists and therapists, and just explaining how to break the trauma bond and the love addiction from a little different perspective. Okie dokie, goodbye, good night. Mwah. Love you all. Thank you. Thank you for all who are also listening. We can feel your energy, so that's also very important. Thank you.